Congratulations! You have hired and onboarded your new Director of Surgical Services. How do you retain your key new hire now that you have her? Well, welcome to Chapter 7, our last and final installment of the Director of Surgical Services Recruitment Toolkit. In this chapter, I'm going to talk about why Directors of Surgical Services quit and how to retain them. Let's begin. We know that HCA published the statistic that they turn over their Director of Surgical Services every 18 months. That's troublesome. The question is why? The answer is simple. When it comes to this job, it's hard. You have to navigate surgeon providers, hospital administration, your nursing staff, and many times nurse unions, all while keeping patients and patient care paramount. And because there is so much money that flows through the operating room, there are millions of dollars at stake. Here are two top reasons Directors of Surgical Services quit their job. Number one, lack of administrative support. Number two, advancement for higher salary. I'll include the full top 10 list in the show notes. Let's focus on number two for a moment, the compensation piece. There are two ways comp plans can be structured to prevent turnover. First, you can simply pay them well. I know it sounds obvious, but there's a term for it, protecting them from the market. We've all seen studies showing how costly turnover is. If you pay this position at the top of your peer group won't be able to incentivize them with compensation. You can also structure a bonus to be sizable and paid so far into the future as to absorb a chunk of next year's calendar. By the time they receive last year's bonus, they're already 3 months into their next year. How can you support the Director of Surgical Services by proxy? Because you're not the CEO, CNO, or COO of the hospital, your levers are limited. But don't discount the power of an external network of supportive technical experts. For instance, you can have a positive impact by sending your Director of Surgical Services to conferences and supporting their professional development. The top 4 conferences are AORN, OR Manager, Becker's, and OR Business Managers. Finally, let's not forget the succession plan. Remember, a succession plan is not a tacit acceptance that your director is not going to be successful. On the contrary, it's something that you work on with the director. It allows for strategic growth of the department and their role within the organization. It helps you groom younger talent as backup, not just for your department, but maybe other hospitals in your system. And yes, it does help you prepare if your director does move on to another job, or ideally when they retire after years of excellent leadership. So ask your Director of Surgical Services for an assessment of the current talent underneath her. Ask her to name her closest qualified successor. Map out a forecasting of growth for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Pay attention to developing skill sets like robotics and telehealth experience. Now match this current and future needs roadmap to a timeline for professional development and internal talent promotion. So that concludes our 7 chapters of the Director of Surgical Services Recruitment Toolkit. We've covered the Quick Start Guide, doing the search yourself, what to look for in a candidate, questions to ask and not ask in interviews, closing the deal on your intended candidate, and now how to retain her once you have her on board. I hope these have been helpful. Good luck and keep up the great work.